This is part one of a podcast on the life story of U Win Htein. It'll be over several episodes. Now, U Win Htein was born on Christmas Eve in 1941. And sadly, he just spent his 80th birthday in prison in Mandalay. He was sentenced in October last year to 20 years in prison for sedition. Now, of course, that's tragic. But what's also tragic is he's spent almost 20 years of his life prior to that in prison for fighting for democracy. We obviously can't interview him face to face or over Zoom or anything similar to that. But we're very fortunate that in the time that he wasn't in prison, he wrote his life story, and it's called U Win Htein's Story for Posterity, Burma's Odyssey from Tyranny to Quasi-Democracy. Now, you'll be able to buy that on any one of the ebook platforms, and that's how I purchased it. It's very detailed. But who is U Win Htein? Well, he's far more than a prisoner of conscience. He's been an elder politician of the National League of Democracy. He's been the right-hand man to Aung San Suu Kyi. He's been a parliamentarian and an army captain. Now, we're very fortunate that his youngest child, his daughter Chit Suu, has agreed that she will, together with me, read in key parts of the book so that you get a full idea of the man. So, Chit Suu, when you think of your father, what immediately comes to mind?
I have to use that he is my world. Even though I have my family, like my son and my husband, but he is my world, and also my hero for me. And I think that this is not just for me, but also for my other siblings as well. They truly respect my father and love him dearly. 19 years away from the family means a lot for us. He missed most of the important lives outside, like, for example, a lot of birthdays, graduation days. He missed when our adopted sister passed away. So he know the news from the newspaper, because in Myanmar, we put those notice that when someone passed away, we post that in the newspaper. That's how he learned. So that must be very heartbreaking for him to know that in the prisons, not from the family first, but from the newspaper. But we never blame for his absence from the family. We were always and are still very proud of his decisions and his actions towards not just what he thinks is right, but what it is actually right for the people and the country. And he stands for the justice side. So this kind of our perspectives towards my father also depends a lot on my mom, because when my siblings are away, when they left home, I'm the only one who stayed with my mother for many years, and I was brought up with the narrative of my father being a very caring, loving, responsible man, and hardworking and decisive man. So, I always wonder what kind of person he is. And yes, when we talk about hardworking, and he joined the politics knowingly that he will be get into trouble. When he was having a successful career, very promising career, and we never feel regret about that. But I wonder sometimes in life, how would our lives be when if he stayed in the military, or if he became the successful businessman.
Thanks, Chit Suu. Now, you've visited him obviously many times over the years when he was in prison. Is there any particular event or times that you remember?
Yes, he was moved to 4 different prisons. First is Insane, and then to Mianjan and Mandalay prison and to Qatar prison. So there are a lot of experiences and a lot of hardships for the families to visit him, foods and medicines and all that. The experience that I have, and also my father wrote in his book, is that when I was about, I think, 8 or 9 years old, when I visited Insane prison, there was a wire net that they make in front of, between the family and the prisoner. So there was a wire net, and as a child, I saw there was a tear at the corner, and then I tried to open it with my little fingers, and I can open to the to the extent that I can reach out to my father with my finger, and I started shouting like happily, and I said like Peji, which is like dad, look at this, now I can touch your fingers. And he was also happy that we can touch the finger like that. And then that is repaired next week when we visited him again. So that is the experience.
So during all these years that he's in prison, how have you managed to sort of feel close to him?
Yes, apart from my mother's stories of how he is being a good man, when ICRC visited the prisoners, political prisoners, and then they had after they have done that, the political prisoners have a chance to read newspapers and books and magazines, and also they can write to the family once a month. So my father always wrote to each of the siblings very long letters, and to my mom as well. That especially to me, he wrote the Buddhas, the stories in Buddhism and how we practice and how we live our life ethically, and all those stories that he remembers. I was very amazed how he can remember all those stories. And when I started practicing my English as well, I try to write to him in English, and he was very impressed with my improvements. And we share my part of the stories. And also when I went and studied in abroad as well, I wrote to him. I regularly wrote to him, and that's how I feel close to him. And I feel very close to him. And my mom sometimes envy us, and she said that you're the one who stayed with me for many years, and how come you are very close to your father who is away from you for 19 years?
That's lovely, Chit Suu. So, I mean, clearly he is a hero to you and your siblings. Is there any particular reason why you feel he's such a hero?
Yeah, in politics, he can be blunt and he can be sometimes hard. But for me, the way that he is staying his life, I like that. For me, I'm the anxious person. He's not. He's very calm, and when it comes to the important decisions to make, he think very carefully, and I trust his judgment. And he's not a panic person or anxious person. He's very cool and calm, and he lives according to what Buddhas teach in the middle way. He's not dwelling on the past or worry about the future. And even now, he write to me, don't worry about me, I'm doing okay inside the prison. You have to be strong. So he's the one who is encouraging me from the prison, because he knows that I'm the emotional person. So not only just that, but also other things like he's very dedicated, smart, and he reads a lot. He's a bookworm. He eats a book. So that's, I have to try to be like him, because I'm not very good at reading the books. So yeah, there are a lot of things. I admire him, and I wish he lives longer, and I wish he can be out very soon so that we can meet again.
Yeah, that leads to another question. I mean, how did you feel when he was taken away at the age of 79 years old, and by which stage you were 35? I mean, that must certainly make you feel strongly.
Yes. So a few days before the coup, he reminded us, I was in Naypyidaw, and he reminded me and my family that he said, you should go and stay at the hotel, not sick, because I stayed with him for a night after the quarantine. Because at that night, and I feel very happy to stay with him and, eat together. And then he said that you should go and stay at the hotel because they might do the coup and come and arrest me anytime soon. And I don't want you guys to be trapped when they come. So I was like, really? Seriously? Do I have to worry about you being arrested again in 2021? And I feel shocked. And I don't know who of course, there are people who did that, and there are certain people who I should be angry to. But there was the same feeling that once throughout my whole life, that my father being away, who do I put blame? I know who, but because there is no accountability, no one took responsibility for making disasters to so many families in the history. And now it is very outraging that it is happening again, but I don't think this time we should not let it go like that.
Right. Well, thanks, Chit Suu. In following episodes, you and I are going to read key parts of the book that we think people will be interested in and which mean a lot to you and your siblings. So thank you very much for that, Chit Suu, and I look forward to talking again very soon.
Thank you very much, Peter, for having this opportunity as well. This is not just promoting about my father and his book, but also about what is happening in Myanmar, since we are Burmese people, and not many people know about where Myanmar and what is still happening in Myanmar, and we need to make the awareness about it, and also for my father's legacy as well. This is a book that he feels proud and to mention what he has done in his political career. So I am sure, I hope that there will be people, many more people who is interested in the books and explores what is in U Win Htein's book. Thank you very much.
Thank you.